All right. Peace to the family. How is everybody doing out there? This is an important show. Get my mic together. My mic sounds nice. Check one. But this is an important show because there's so here's one of the problems that we have in the online health community, right? We have a wide variety of I don't even know what word. I don't want to say genres. Maybe categories would be much more simple and to the point, but even that doesn't fully encapsulate what I'm trying to communicate. But you have some people, we'll just lay it out, right? You have some people who feel like they are in the, they follow online health, they follow the online health community, and they watch people like Jess James West, Will Tennyson. You have other people who feel like they follow online, the online health community because they follow people like Simeon Panda or Larry Wheels or Greg Doucette. You have some people who feel like, they follow the online health community because, they follow Dr. Enqi, Dr. Sebi. Actually, let me take myself out of it. They're into like Dr. Sebi or Dr. Africa, that kind of thing. You have some people who feel like they follow the online health community because they follow people like Andrew Huberman, Gerald Pollack, JACKKRUSE. And hopefully you get where I'm going, right? You got so many different facets of people teaching quote unquote health. And everybody you watch is like, like this is the groundbreaking, this is it right here. This is the main. And really, for the most part, you got people that just don't know what they're talking about at all the way up to people that do have good information, but they over exaggerate their information as if it's the totality of what you need to study and follow instead of just one piece of the puzzle, so to speak, right? Now, I'm not going to call out the guy's name, right? But he's a fitness guy, right? And so me and Chase was watching. Why was we watching his channel? I think we was either watching. We might have been looking for tips on doing a muscle up because that's what we trying to figure. We trying to figure out. Me and Chase is, we're each other's personal trainers. Chase is my coach. I'm his coach. You know what I'm saying? So we both trying to figure out how to do muscle. Like we in a competition to figure who can do muscle ups first. Like, you know, we trying to get to doing some muscle ups. So anyway, I think that's what we was doing. But the brother is, you know, he's got a video and it's like, yeah, how to get under 10% body fat, or how to get to 15% body fat, or how to get lean, and some whatever. So anyway, we click on the video and I'm just giving you an example of how people could seem like they're really, that they're really intelligent, they're really dialed in, they really know what they're talking about, and they have no idea of what they're talking about. But if you don't know any better, you will think that this person really has, they really know what they're talking about, either because of their credentials. Yeah, period. Because of their credentials, whether their credentials are their physique, because in the world of fitness, your credentials are your body. So if you have a really good looking body, clearly you know what you're talking about. In the world of, I guess in the more sciencey kind of health space, your physical credentials aren't worth as much as your paper. You know what I'm saying? What pieces of paper you can wave around and say, hey, I've certified from here, or I got a degree from here, right? So, but anyway, so the brother's like, yeah, I'm gonna show y'all how I eat to stay lean, and I'm dairy free. This is dairy free. And right off the back, my man opens up. Bop, 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 bop. All right, so I'm gonna do 4 egg whites with 2 whole eggs. And I'm saying to myself, I'm like, wait, what is happening right now? And Chase is like, yo, Dad, what is he saying? I'm like, bro, this guy got 1 million some followers. Like, he got 1 million followers. My man said he having no dairy for breakfast. He put eggs, 2 whole eggs with some egg whites mixed in. I'm like, hold on, how is my man making eggs to say he no dairy? Then he goes, all right, while my eggs is cooking, I'm going to go make my protein shake. Now, I'm going to show y'all how to make the protein shake. This is going to be very instructional. He goes, now, I told y'all no dairy, so we're going to start out with our almond milk, okay? No dairy, okay? So he puts the almond milk in the blender, and then he goes, now, I'm going to add in my protein powder. He says, you got to use the high-quality whey protein. Then he makes another no dairy reference. I'm like, bro, what is happening right now? I'm like, yo, I'm done. I can't even watch the rest of this video and take this guy serious. He got an amazing body, pause. He's got an amazing physique. He's really in shape, but he clearly don't know what he's talking about. And because he got 1 million followers, clearly the people following, like, who are these people? And so I realized that it has to be really tough. It has to be really tough to try to differentiate who's who and what's what. And a lot of times, we fall into views and subs. We go, oh, this guy's got 1 million, this guy's got 500, 1,000, all these people following him. He must know what he's talking about, right? A lot of people think Andrew Huberman is deep. You would be, you would be surprised at how many people send me a clip like, yo, Andrew Huberman said this. So I'm like, bro, why do y'all send me these people, man? When are y'all gonna learn that I keep y'all way ahead of the learning curve? If you didn't know that before today, you gonna learn today. If you didn't know that before today, you're gonna learn today how far ahead of the learning curve you are. Because oh man, I gotta get Chase to bring me that book. Hey, bring me that Tesseract. I told Chase to bring it. I don't know what happened to him. Yeah, go give me that book, boy. But from the books and you guys, y'all got to realize y'all are my scientific journal. Like, we're doing this in real time. That's why when I did the course was 2.5 years. That was called Living Biochemistry. Close that door, babe. Living Biochemistry. You know, the books are my journals, my timestamps, right? Somebody watched the music video I put up with Tragedy Gaddafi and said, the author, they said, we don't think you the author. Who wrote that book? I'm like, I guess, okay. I guess that's where we're going now. Somebody else wrote the book. Look, somebody else wrote the book and just put my face all inside of it. So I guess somebody else. Yo, they got to go so hard, right? To take away the credit of what I'm doing, guys. Y'all just really don't even understand how far ahead. Like literally, my name's all in the book. Where is it? Yeah, can y'all see that? Right there. Right, look, my name is right there. Right? But all of these things, you know, all of these things are ways for us to keep track of what it is that we're building. And when people steal from me intellectual property, right? They're not just stealing from me, they're also stealing from you. If you regularly send in cash apps, or if you're a part of the Patreons and you regularly, you know, keep your Patreon on, or you regularly order from the website, you know, you're a supporter. If you're participating, you know, you do your push-ups and send me your videos every day, right? You're a part of this. When you let other folks steal, whether it's KT, Brother Yaki, or even these guys, because a lot of times we get locked into a space where we don't feel like, we think that certain people are too big for us to address. You know, it's just like the little guys in the neighborhood. You know, they'll pull out their gun and shoot at somebody that look like them, somebody that dress like them, talk like them, walk like them. But they won't pull that gun out on nobody else. If you catch my drift. So a lot of times in these spaces online, we have that same mentality, you know, but you should know, I wasn't raised like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm from 158th Street in the Bronx. If it's up, it's up. Period. And two things y'all know I don't deal with on this side of town. If people is, you know, stealing the information, we gotta call them out on it, you know, because a lot of times what happens is our information here is so advanced that people with larger platforms think that, and this, I've been telling y'all this for years, what they try to do is they look at the numbers and they go, oh, ain't nobody watching that. Those people that's watching don't even realize what type of, like, they don't even realize what he's saying. I'm going to take that and I'm going to brand that as mine. And then I'm going to say that on this platform over here with 100,000 subscribers, or I'm going to say that over here with 500,000 subscribers, and the people will never know. In fact, because of all the other information that I brung to people, along with my credentials, if there even is a conflict, they're not going to believe some nigga with gold teeth from, you know, like, some guy with gold teeth from the Bronx against a neurosurgeon, blah, blah. Like, no, they're not going to. But that's one of the things that maybe people haven't fully realized the power of the internet. Like when they say leveling the playing field, they don't realize just how level the playing field is now. You know, the playing field is very, very leveled. So, you know, we got to talk about, I guess before we even have any discussion on melanin, I need to, you know, shout out what? Dr. Sebi ain't part of the melanin crew. I'm always shouting out Dr. Sebi. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the GOATs, legends, OGs. Even though right now I'm dealing more so with the things that may not have been correct in his paradigm. He's still him. He's still Himothy. He's still Himothy wearing Himbalans. You know what I'm saying? He's still the God Ogun. You know, period. You know what I'm saying? He just, you know, like I'm sure the next generation behind me got to build on what I leave and find the things that I said that were amazing and solid and, you know, paradigm shift changing and blah, blah, blah. But also they got to find Enqi said, Enqi said this too. You know, they got to find those things so that they can grow and build and take it to the next level. Right. But I'll give him an honorary mention. Because, you know, he talked about carbon a lot. He talked about iron a lot. And if it weren't for his insistence on iron, I probably would have never found the relationship between iron and pigment in the body. Which is one of the cycles that I talk about in my article that is everybody trying to steal right now. And I told y'all when there was radio silence on that article, I told y'all what was happening. I was like, yo, everybody is studying this article right now, picking this shit apart, trying to see which parts they're going to steal and flip and bounce and whatever. So, but yeah, so he gets an honorable mention for carbon and blah, 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 blah. Definitely Booker T. Coleman, you know, even though he's playing himself right now. You know what I'm saying? I hit him on the IG. He ain't hit me back. I don't know what's happening with him. But definitely to the super OGs like Richard King, Carol Barnes, T. Owens Moore, Dr. Africa with his crazy self. Yeah, all of the golden era melanologists. You know, it's a sister. It's a dark-skinned lady that was bad back in the days on the melanin tip, but not Drew Pookrum either. Drew Pookrum though. Let me shout out Drew Pookrum. Playing myself. But no. It was a dark-skinned lady. She used to go heavy on the melanin and talk about some crazy stuff. I just can't get her names. But anyway, to all of the OGs in the melanin sphere that fought and died, most of them, before melanin, you know, got any scientific recognition, which is one of the things that we're doing at Melanin versus Diabetes, the movement, you know, a large part of that. And a large reason why this video is being done is because a lot of the people that follow Jack Kruse were sending the information back because, you know, I went on so many epic rants where I was like, yo, don't say none of these white quote unquote scientists' name to me because they don't speak about melanin. You know what I'm saying? And Jack Kruse, I named him a few times. Like, yo, don't say nothing to me about Jack Kruse because he don't talk about melanin. So I know that people were sending him back them videos. And, you know, that led to the moment we're at today. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah. before I even got into, you know, anything in the video, I definitely wanted to make sure I'm not guilty, right? I'm not guilty. I want to make sure that the family at home knows that I done read all of them books. Most of them I got in my library. I don't have Jazzy Melanin, though, by Carol Barnes. I don't know where that is. I think somebody stole it. That's one of the books that I done bought 1,000 times. I keep buying it. People keep stealing it. Yeah, I need to get another copy of that. But that's a dope book because it's kind of like told in story form. So that's a really good book to like have a conversation with children and kind of open up the conversation with children.
Negro, what makes the so-called Negro unable to stand on his own feet? He has no self-confidence. He has no confidence in his own race. Because the white man, what makes the so-called Negro unable to stand on his own feet? He has no self-confidence. He has no confidence in his own race. Because the white man destroyed your and my past, destroyed our knowledge of our culture. And by having destroyed it, now we don't know we have any achievements, any accomplishments. And as long as you can be convinced that you never did anything, you can never do anything. But when it comes to teaching the black people something about great black men who stood their ground, who were scientists, who were civilizers, who were fathers of culture and civilization, those men have truly written that role out of the textbook.
Sometimes I feel trapped, raised inside a wild habitat, black, and like an animal, I learn to react. Parallel to hell with their bodies rotten, smell hard to excel. Where a lot of real G's just died and fell. We play inside of graveyards, blood in the streets, youth die young, and mother heart starved. Emotionally attacking black seeds inside the ovaries. Raw my religion plus culturally. I acknowledge myself, it's like a frozen G at 32 degrees, and something's holding me. Divide and conquer consciously, I can't see, I'm blind. Poison me with the technology, enslaving my mind. I'm just a ghetto child watching ancestors stressing, cause every day above ground is truly a Lord's blessing. Study my essence, what I spit is plus degrees and life lessons. For those asking the realest questions, who is God, Jehovah, Elohim, and Allah, genetically inside of me and written in the stars.
They don't recognize me now. I done took too much, and I'm all torn down, but I'm built back up. They don't recognize me now. I done took too much, and I'm all torn down, but I'm built back up.
It's been a long time coming since my earth was on rock. My first stop, the safest part of the worst block. Divine seeds, planted in sewage and gravel. With nothing but a 7 as a gavel, we learn to travel. Student enrollment, English lessons, we learn to push them. Actual and solar facts to the lost Muslim. With these working tools, I research to diverge from the urge. Put me first more than a detox, a deep purge. 120 to Adam, the first, the word. We heard the spark of creation to preserve God in the flesh. Since then I've been telling them it's more than light, sound crystallized through melanin. You can't come around for a few dollars and disappear. We ain't bouncing no reality checks. Listen here, the chicken clear, biophoton currency, the bloodline of luxury. Health is wealth and niggas been living comfortably.
They don't recognize me now. I done took too much. Now I'm all torn down, but I'm built back up. They don't recognize me now. I done took too much, but I'm all torn down. Now I'm built back up.
Now, many people may not understand why I guess I made sure to single out Rick Rubin. This is on Rick Rubin's podcast, right? So Rick Rubin has a podcast called Tetragrammaton. Now, this is the very same Rick Rubin that has built his fortune on Black genius. This is Russell Simmons' partner. This is Def Jam. This is that Rick Rubin has a podcast. So and I guess you kind of got to follow the logic, but there are people that because of their culture, how they're raised, I'm not even going to say necessarily races, but even people that are not raised in racial situations or racist situations, they still have cultural ideas about performance and intelligence and education levels and things like that that should distinguish the masses of people and give an indication on what you're capable of, right? So, if you come from here and your education level is this is what you're capable of. Or if you come from here and your parents' education level is this is what you're capable of. Because a lot of us don't realize that institutions don't even look at your education level. They look at your parents. So who were your parents? Oh, your parents were street folks? Oh, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. That's why when you hear about certain, people, they always say, oh yeah, this is such and such. He comes from a good family. So we should expect certain level of performance from this person because of mother and father, right? So white neurosurgeons, I'm gonna, now Jack Kruse is from New York, so he should know better, but I'm gonna almost like give him not even a pass, but I'm gonna give him like a half fair bus pass. Yeah, half fair bus pass. Right? But Rick Rubin, bro, what are you talking about? You made your entire name for yourself. Your entire name for yourself, your fortune, your millions, your everything is on Black genius. Little Black boys from the Bronx. Young Black men. Young Black teenagers from the Bronx gave you everything you got. So you got to know better. You got to know better. If nobody else knows, you got to know better. So, with that being said, I think that a lot of times people don't realize, especially when they see how I communicate, how I approach things, a lot of times, I try to communicate through music. You know what I'm saying? So certain moments I'll capture with a song. Boom. Like that right there. That song right there, I want to say that song was probably like 30 plus years in the making. You know what I'm saying? When I first heard Intelligent Hoodlum, and that shit like revolutionized how I thought and saw the world. Now, here we go. Fast forward. I'm doing a song with him on my terms. Right? I'm not doing like a Tragedy Gaddafi song in the space that he's in right now. He's coming into my space to do a song with me where I'm at. That to me is like, you know what I'm saying, huge, humongous, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, this is the part of the music that was hijacked. You know, it's important for me to say that at the beginning of this video. The part of the hip hop, the rap music that was hijacked and taken out was the information. It was the teaching. You know, the teaching part, that was a part of the music, you know, but they took that out. They marginalized it first, and then they slowly but surely pushed it to the side, you know, and then blamed the consumer and say, oh, well, the people don't want to pay for that. So because the people don't want to pay for that, you know, that's not true. It's a lot of behind the scenes goes into marketing and radio and blah, 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 blah. You could almost push a dog barking over a beat right now. And if the right kind of money is behind it, it gets the right cosigns, and you know it'll do what it's supposed to do. So no, the teaching was taken out, and so you have to understand that God is music. God is music. God is also healing. God is music. God is healing. That means healing is music. Healing is sound. Healing is music. Healing is sound. God is music, right? One of the most profound things that I think we uncovered, and when I say uncovered, there's no written record anywhere outside of what we put together, that melanin operates in sound, in the sound space, more than the light space. That's us. That's our research. You know, but on top of just like, because this is not just like a who came up with whatever first video. I'm not going to waste everybody's time with that, especially not on my birthday. Today's my birthday. Send me some cash apps. If not for the information, if not for the research, just because, damn it. Right? Happy birthday. Here's a few dollars for you, Doc. Right? But when culture vultures not only, you know, grab your information, you got to realize this is a cultural thing. Just like, you know, I had the issue with Arturo, what's his name? Arturo Salas or Saleas or whatever. The guy who was trying to kick some melanin, like, oh, I'm the foremost authority on melanin. Nigga, no, you not. Stop it. I need you white guys to chill, bro. Like, seriously. I'm going to need, yo, respectfully, I'm going to need all of you white guys to pump your brakes, bro. We are not allowing you to co-opt the melanin story and then try to act like you're some type of foremost authority on melanin when you have not walked one day in melanin. Period, bro. It don't matter if you spend 5 years in a laboratory studying melanin. I have spent 46 years today. Today makes 46 years. I have been living inside of melanin. I need you to understand that. You have been looking at melanin inside of a dish, studying melanin and reading papers on what you see in the dish. You might have even been cutting open cadavers and looking at melanin inside of other people's bodies. Yeah, you might be a surgeon. You might be looking at melanin on live bodies. Oh, wow, look at this melanin inside these people. Yeah, it's amazing. Look what it can do. You have been externally experimenting on melanin. I'm going to need y'all to chill, relax, like Nori, relax. Yo, I need to go get a Drink Champ snippet of Nori just telling niggas to relax. I'm going to need y'all to relax. I need to somehow fit that into the title of this video. White men, please chill. Please relax on telling people y'all are foremost authorities on melanin. You gotta stop. I literally live inside melanin, bro. Like I'm in the melanin. I live in it. I live in it. Not in a figurative way, like, yo, I'm always studying it. No, I live inside the melanin. Yo, I'm studying melanin all the time. Yep. No. I mean, physically. You see what I'm saying? Look, dude, are you looking at me? I live in it. I can't take it off. I cannot take it off. I'm running melanin experiments with every step I take, every breath I take, every song I listen to, every song I make, every time I talk to my kids, they talk back to me. Every experience I've ever had has been inside of melanin molecules. I need y'all to relax. Seriously. I need y'all to relax. Now, when people grab your stuff, and they run off with it, to the people that don't know anything about it, that they introduce it to, they might sound deep. But if you listen closely, and y'all know, I'm an expert at listening closely. If you listen closely, you're going to hear things like this.
What creates that feeling of like, yes, that, more of that. The stuff that creates bonding between people. The
dopamine.
Stuff, you know?
Dopamine is.
Yeah.
I can tell you from
I've always thought that chi and dopamine are sort of synonymous with one another.
I think they are.
I get people like this try to rob me every day with a straight face. And they don't care about the culture, they only care about themselves.
Did you hear that? Because a lot of y'all think Andrew Huberman and JACKKRUSE is super deep. Yo, Enqi, did you hear this? Yo, this was on Andrew Huberman. You know, JACKKRUSE said. Did you hear? Did you hear these two gentlemen? Did you hear them? I'm going to have to replay that a few times. We're going to hear that. If you didn't hear it, trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to thoroughly hear that. They just identified chi. You know, chi, that your ancestors been talking about for thousands of years. They just identified chi as dopamine. And I know it's going to be some people out there that don't know anything. And they're going to be like, "Oh, yo, that's crazy. Yo, I was thinking the same thing." No, you wasn't thinking the same thing. And if you was thinking the same thing, please come to my house so I can slap you back into reality. Okay? Chi is not dopamine. Listen to what I'm telling you. Chi is not. Listen to what I'm telling you. Chi is not dopamine. See, my mind is not hardwired to believe whatever these guys. Oh, yo, he said chi is dopamine. Yo, it's crazy. Let me text Enqi and see what Enqi believes. If Enqi's cosign. This is an example. This is really like is this your king? Is this your king?
Is what creates that feeling of like, yes, that, more of that. The stuff that creates bonding between people. The
Dopamine.
Stuff, you know?
Dopamine is. I can tell you from
I've always thought that chi and dopamine are sort of synonymous with one another.
I think they are.
I get people like this try to rob me every day with a straight face. And they don't care about the culture, they only care about themselves.
You heard Dane. I get people like this to try to rob me every day. And they don't care about the culture. They only care about themselves. We are the culture. We are the culture. Don't y'all forget that. We are the culture. I am the culture. You guys are the culture. Don't allow these people to co-opt and all of a sudden they running around merging, they just grabbing and mashing. Oh yeah, chi is dopamine. Now, if nobody don't step on the gas, and say, yeah, we're gonna need you to run that back. Let me get you to run that back. Did you just say chi is dopamine? Wait, did you let hundreds of thousands, millions of people hear you say that chi is dopamine after you said you was a world foremost authority with melanin? You breaking it? No, 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 not on my watch. No, not on my watch. See, y'all don't.
What creates that feeling of like, yes, that, more of that. The stuff that creates bonding between people. The
Dopamine.
Stuff, you know?
Dopamine is. I can tell you from.
Well, I've always thought that chi and dopamine are sort of synonymous with one another.
I think they are.
We're not having that. We're not having that. We're not allowing. You grew up riding the subway, running with people. We not not on my watch. So you can't just grab it, flip it, and bounce it, and then no. We're not doing that.
Your support is greatly needed, greatly appreciated, and we utilize 100% of the support in the continuing effort to not only bring you cutting-edge research, but to support the technical aspect, the media aspect, as well as the living examples of the research. It is one thing to show you this information in books. It is a completely different thing to show you live proof that this information is changing lives. Even if you have not incorporated this information into your lifestyle, just by supporting, you are changing the lives of many others. We greatly appreciate your support. We greatly appreciate your patience. And we can't wait to see you as a living embodiment of this information. Thank you.
Is what creates that feeling of like, yes, that, more of that. The stuff that creates bonding between people. The
Dopamine.
Stuff, you know?
Dopamine is. I can tell you from.
Well, I've always thought that chi and dopamine are sort of synonymous with one another.
I think they are.
I get people.
Now, let's start at the basics, right? Let's start at the basics. Your real estate, right? Your only real estate that you will ever have is your flesh, right? Your property, your land. Your land is you. Remember, you are made of the dust of the ground. You are land. You are land. You are your only real piece of real estate that you'll ever have. The art of husbandry and fatherhood is is one, cultivating the soil, right? When you're a father and you're making babies, right? What are you doing? You're planting seed in hopefully fertile soil, right? This is what husbandry and fatherhood is really about. This is where the marriage. This is where the marriage comes in. I definitely appreciate all the happy birthdays. I definitely appreciate all the happy birthdays, all of the support. But this is where the marriage comes in. Now, this is also, let me before I even go further, this is the mystery, the 20% mystery. There's a 20% mystery out there about women. Women live 20% longer than men do, right? Now, the reason why women live a little bit longer than men do is, yes, because of stress, right? And on one hand, you got the fact that men kind of take burdens for women that they love and kind of run interference. But in the science space, you got to remember that on average, women's fat cells are supposed to be 20% larger, just naturally, because they have babies, right? And so they have to make new humans, right? And they're supposed to breastfeed, the breast milk, a lot of that's fat, fatty acids and things like that. So, depending on the composition of a woman's fat, a lot of her fat is going to contribute to becoming the baby's, brain, nervous, and pigment system, right? The baby's heart, a lot of that's going to come from there. So, the good side to that, the upside to that for women is that because of this 20% cushion, sugar and cortisol are not as, sugar and cortisol is still going to kill them. Sugar and cortisol is still dangerous, but they have a 20%, they have that buffer, right? So they have that buffer. But the darker the soil, the more fertile the soil, right? The darker the soil, the more fertile the soil, right? These are things that we know in the scientific space, hands down. We already know these things. What makes the soil darker? What makes the soil richer? Pigment. The same thing that makes people darker. Right? In the soil, you have different types of humic acids, right? Just like in people, you have different types of amino acids, right? These are what become your pigments, whether it's the opsins, whether it's different types of melanin, globins, whatever it is, these are pigments, right? So, even to, going back to Dr. Sebi controversy, right? Dr. Sebi got put in jail for saying that, I'm simplifying, but Sebi got put in jail for saying that he could basically reverse any illness with carbon, carbon-based compounds, carbon-based nutrition. And they grabbed him up because of that complexion, and they locked him up for that, only to turn around a few years later and give the Nobel Prize to a couple of gentlemen that said, oh yeah, we discovered, C58, C59, C60, these are some super futuristic, high level power antioxidants. And, these can reverse all illness. So They came along and said, with some carbon-based, you know, carbon 58, carbon 59, carbon 60. These are some carbon-based antioxidants. And, you know, if you get these into your body, you can reverse any illness. Nobel Prize. White guys. Dr. Sebi, I get these carbon compounds into you. Lock that. Somebody cuff him. Somebody cuff him. Is he practicing medicine without a license? What? Somebody lock him up. That's part of the way he got out. He's like, first of all, I'm not practicing medicine without a license. Herbs, this is just herbs. It's like salad. Okay, this is not medicine. Okay, those are chemical compounds. These are plants like lettuce, tomatoes, bananas. Yeah. So we need y'all to cut that out. Right? So I still accept it. Yo, somebody sent me a good message and then said wrong person. Nah, I'm still accepting that goodness. But yeah, you know, so and C60 is a carbon-based compound that's in a lot of different herbal formulas out there. But the bottom line is this is an aspect of the pigment in the soil, right? The pigment in the soil. Now we know that carbon is just one element. Carbon doesn't function alone, right? Carbon has to be combined. So, you know, before we can get to a protein or pigment, we have to have carboxylic acids combined with nitrogen and, you know, form amino acids, you know, but before we have amino acids, we have carboxylic acids and, you know, your COOH chains and blah, 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 blah. But these are still your pigments. So it's still the dust of the ground. We still have to understand the basis of this. And the basis of this in people and in the soil, or I would say the bridge between people and the soil, obviously, is the plants. Now, you have some goofballs out there that obviously were the subject of some previous videos. Because, you know, if you out there misrepresenting this health thing, I'm going to get you. You know, one way or another, I'm going to find you. So, you know, some folks out there talking that breatharian or breatharian conversation. I had to shut it down. Okay. I don't care how amazing your melanin is. You do have to know that melanin has to constantly, like the rest of your body, be rebuilt, right? All your cells, tissues, glands, everything has to constantly be rebuilt, regenerated, refreshed, right? And in order to do that, you have to make sure that you consume the raw material for those things to be built. When we're talking about pigments, it's going to come down to usually tyrosine or tryptophan, right? That's going to be, you know, phenylalanine, tyrosine, you know, that your body can, convert, you know, but that's where you're going to be at. Phenylalanine or tryptophan. Let me put this on. I'm feeling very loved. That's the only reason why I'm letting my phone ring and, you know, constantly, because I'm feeling the love. It's my birthday. People is hitting me. I ain't gonna lie. I would prefer to hear that sound of cash instead of the text messages, but I would appreciate the text messages because I'm sure everybody got stuff going on in their life. And if you could share a few dollars, you would share a few dollars. So I appreciate the love however I get it, right? But the midpoint is the plants, and the plants give us these aromatic amino acids, tyrosine, phenylalanine, and tryptophan. Now, when you hear people talking greasy about GMO versus organic and this, that, and the other, 9.9 times out of 10, 9.9 times out of 10, they don't know what they're talking about. They're just repeating things that they heard other people say. These are facts. The main problem with these synthetic foods, or the foods that have been chemically sprayed and all that, is the fact that the pathway in the plants that produces the aromatic amino acids is what's targeted. And so if we begin, especially pigmented people, this is where you can be, you should feel threatened more than anybody else. If we begin to consume a diet full of plants that have chemically been neutered to not produce those aromatic amino acids, it's going to affect you more so than anybody else. If you're a meat eater and you eat animals that was raised on these fake plants that primarily are loaded up with these chemicals that neuter the plant's ability to produce these aromatic amino acids, you're still gonna. So in this regard, I just want y'all to understand, vegan, non-vegan, it does not matter. The plants are at the bottom of the food chain. And the most important thing that we need from these plants that we cannot make ourselves. I don't care who told you you could stay in the sunlight and all kinds of other goofball. Like, you cannot make aromatic amino acids yourself. Period. You got to eat the plants, or you got to eat the animals that eat the plants. So this is where a lot of times herbs and supplementation comes in, because when you get the herbs from people that know what they're doing, obviously, such as myself, right? The herbs are going to be, obviously, they should be, not exposed to chemicals. They should be wild, so that you're getting the highest concentration of the nutrients, not just that the plants have to offer, but that the chemically adulterated plants no longer have, right? And so there's a lot of things that we're going to look at in today's conversation, because it's not just the stupid statement that chi is dopamine. Like, that's super stupid. And that's, y'all don't realize how things is connected. People that don't know what they're doing, they think they cultivating chi. Hopefully that didn't kill your ears, me hitting the mic. But people that think they know what they're doing, that's not studied, like they haven't studied any martial arts, they haven't studied Tai Chi, no real like full form jujitsu, or they haven't really studied any of the arts that really deal with cultivating chi, so they don't really know. And they just hearing things and repeating things. They might think that they meditating to cultivate chi, or they might think that they need to do something weird with their chakras or something for some chi. Or they might believe that chi and prana is the same thing, because they keep hearing that be repeated over and over by people that don't know what they're talking about, right? So you get into this space where you start listening to these things and you don't know how serious these things can become, because most of the mental health space, right? And when I say the mental health space, I mean the people that, psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, people that have the ability to prescribe drugs. Most of the drugs that are designed to treat anxiety, depression, bipolar, this, that, and the other, they're all targeting some hormone or set of neurotransmitters in your brain or in your body that has something to do with serotonin or dopamine. So there's a very, like some of y'all like, oh yeah, chi, but then when you say chi is dopamine and you have neurologists, brain surgeons telling you, yeah, oh yeah, chi is dopamine. Oh, that'll create a real problem if people start to take that hook, line, and sinker and try to incorporate that into an actual lifestyle. This is why we have so many insane people running around right now. Yeah, ideas like this.
What creates that feeling of like, yes, that, more of that. The stuff that creates bonding between people. The
Dopamine.
Stuff,
Dopamine is. I can tell you from.
Well, I've always thought that chi and dopamine are sort of synonymous with one another.
I think they are.
It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun, you heard?
You know we're not going to play with them. You know we're not going to play with them. Listen.
Out of UV light you create internally.
Yeah, well, that's the big one for me. I mean, obviously, that's the one that I think that's going to be the huge one for everybody listening, no matter whether or not they understand any of the rest of our conversation, is that our cells can create light internal to our body, right? That to me...
Melanin is the screen. Remember the analogy I used to you before Andrew showed up? That we can sit in a movie theater when we were older guys in New York, and we look at the light, and then we see the movie, and you look at the light and go, wow, there's a lot of information in that light, but you don't see the information there. You see it on the screen.
You're talking about the beam coming from the projector.
Now, we're going to listen to that a few more times before the show is over so y'all can hear the craziness. But somebody commented on my IG. They was like, man, they didn't get that. How you know you came with that information before? That's that brainwashing. We don't believe in ourselves, so we don't believe that genius, that's why I started the movement, Genius Lives Matter. Genius lives matter. We don't believe that we possess the capability to really outthink and outmaneuver other walks of life. We talk that shit, but we don't really believe it. We don't internalize that genius lives matter. Even the people that talk that melanin shit, they don't really even understand what it is that they're teaching. So let me let y'all listen to this confession, because this podcast that we're listening to, this is brand new. This podcast just came out 2023, a couple months ago, maybe a month ago, a couple weeks, something to that effect. But it's a 2023 podcast. On the podcast, JACKKRUSE admits to Rick Rubin and Andrew Huberman that he never, ever taught this information before. He never taught that cells create their own light before. And I said, oh, that's great. That's great. Because I've been teaching that for about 5-10 years, champ. And yeah, I had a guy from India post my article that I wrote up in Medium like 4 years ago. Guy from India. Like, yo, I follow your material, bro. You be dropping some crazy stuff, man. You gotta, if you can't get it into those scientific journals, man, you gotta let me post this in some regular magazines online, just so that you got some stamps and some dates and some times besides like social media. And I was like, you know me. I'm like, yo, if you could do something with it, go do something. You know what I'm saying? Get busy. You know, and fast forward now, 4 years later, We're in this scenario where we got quote unquote neurosurgeons out there saying, oh yeah, no. This is groundbreaking information. 2023. Groundbreaking information. I never taught this information before. Cells produce their own light. I'm like, bruh, I'm gonna need y'all to calm down. You gotta relax. You gotta relax. Or when you going through your references, you gotta say, Dr. Enqi said. See, if you do that, then we Gucci. Dr. Enqi taught. Dr. Enqi discovered. Dr. Enqi stumbled on. Don't tell folks you stumbled on, boo, boo, boo. Oh yeah, I stumbled onto this because I got a book out. Now y'all know me. I don't jump out the gate before I do my homework. Y'all know that I got boy book. Y'all know that I got boy book. Y'all know that I got boy book. Boy don't teach nothing about melanin. Boy talk about leptin. Boy talk about cold showers. Boy talk about mitochondria. And boy talk about a whole bunch of prescription drugs. Boy don't talk about melanin. Boy don't talk about the cells creating their own light.
I just patted you on the back and said, just do me a favor. Tell as many people as you can. Because the only way I think we're going to get change, honestly, I think me and Andrew are hamstrung. I think we're the story of Achilles. Our tendons are cut. I think we're going to be muffled. But you inviting me here with him, for him to hear my story, because you already know a lot of it, now you're getting a lot more pieces. I've never told anybody what I've told you two today. This is the whole shit and caboodle. I want you to know that you have the power of regeneration in your hands. Well, to lose weight. I didn't believe anything about what I had found, but I could not argue with what I found. And faced with conventional wisdom, I already went to my primary care doctor and he told me to eat less and exercise more, and it didn't work. I put 30 pounds on. I said, why don't I give crazy a shot?
Nothing to lose.
Right, so I went and did it. And guess what? 11 months, I lost 133 pounds.
You gotta tell us what you did?
Yeah, it's called the leptin prescription. It's on my JACKKRUSE.com site. 6 steps. If you read it, you'll never see anything that we're talking about today. That blog is just like Rick's book. It's written with words without signs. Why? Because I knew if I told you the truth, you'd get the same story about the photoelectric effect. I'm trying to make sense thermodynamically of what's really going on in our body. And when I figured it out that we were creating more light inside us, that's when the story got more interesting, because you already know a lot of it. Now you're getting a lot more pieces. I've never told anybody what I've told you two today. Yeah, it's called the leptin prescription. It's on my JACKKRUSE.com site. 6 steps. If you read it, you'll never see anything that we're talking about today, because you already know a lot of it. Now you're getting a lot more pieces. I've never told anybody what I've told you two today. Yeah, it's called the leptin prescription. It's on my JACKKRUSE.com site. 6 steps. If you read it, you'll never see anything that we're talking about today. Out of UV light you create internally.
Yeah, well, that's the big one for me. I mean, obviously, that's the one that I think that's going to be the huge one for everybody listening, no matter whether or not they understand any of the rest of our conversation, is that our cells can create light internal to our body, right? That to me...
Melanin is the screen. Remember the analogy I used to you before Andrew showed up, that we can sit in a movie theater when we were older guys in New York, and we look at the light, and then we see the movie, and you look at the light and go, wow, there's a lot of information in that light, but you don't see the information there. You see it on the screen.
You're talking about the beam coming from the projector.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you know,
how is everything in the beam?
Right.
Doesn't make sense.
You as a non-science guy, when I leave here, my job is not only to satisfy you, but I want to make him curious.
Absolutely. Both.
I want you to know that's what melanin is. It's the screen. We're having a discussion right now of the projector and the light. And that semiconductor circuit that I'm talking about is the one that I stumbled in. It's the of UV light you create internally.
Yeah, well, that's the big one for me. I mean, obviously, that's the one that I think that's going to be the huge one for everybody listening, no matter whether or not they understand any of the rest of our conversation, is that our cells can create light internal to our body, right? That to me,
melanin is the screen. Remember the analogy I used to you before Andrew showed up, that we can sit in a movie theater when we were older guys in New York, and we look at the light, and then we see the movie, and you look at the light and go, wow, there's a lot of information in that light, but you don't see the information there. You see it on the screen.
You're talking about the beam coming from the projector.
Yeah. So
how is everything in the beam? Right.
So
doesn't make sense.
You as a non-science guy, when I leave here, my job is not only to satisfy you, but I want to make him curious.
Absolutely. Both.
I want you to know that's what melanin is. It's the screen. We're having a discussion right now of the projector and the light. And that's semiconductor circuit that I'm you. I just patted you on the back and said, just do me a favor. Tell as many people as you can. Because the only way I think we're going to get change, honestly, I think me and Andrew are hamstrung. I think we're the story of Achilles. Our tendons are cut. I think we're going to be muffled. But you inviting me here with him, for him to hear my story, because you already know a lot of it, now you're getting a lot more pieces. I've never told anybody what I've told you two today. Out of UV light you create internally.
Yeah, well, that's the big one for me. I mean, obviously, that's the one that I think that's going to be the huge one for everybody listening, no matter whether or not they understand any of the rest of our conversation, is that our cells can create light internal to our body, right? That to me,
melanin is the screen. Remember the analogy I used to you before Andrew showed up, that we can sit in a movie theater when we were older guys in New York, and we look at the light, and then we see the movie, and you look at the light and go, wow, there's a lot of information in that light, but you don't see the information there. You see it on the screen.
You're talking about the beam coming from the projector.
Yeah. So
how is everything in the beam?
Right.
So doesn't make sense.
You as a non-science guy, when I leave here, my job is not only to satisfy you, but I want to make him curious.
Absolutely. Both.
I want you to know that's what melanin is. It's the screen. We're having a discussion right now of the projector and the light. And that semiconductor circuit that I'm talking about is the one that I stumbled in. It's the of UV light you create internally.
Yeah, well, that's the big one for me. I mean, obviously, that's the one that I think that's going to be the huge one for everybody listening, no matter whether or not they understand any of the rest of our conversation, is that our cells can create light internal to our body, right? That to me,
melanin is the screen. Remember the analogy I used to you before Andrew showed up, that we can sit in a movie theater when we were older guys in New York, and we look at the light, and then we see the movie, and you look at the light and go, wow, there's a lot of information in that light, but you don't see the information there. You see it on the screen.
You're talking about the beam coming from the projector.
Yeah. So
how is everything in the beam? Right. So doesn't make sense.
You as a non-science guy, when I leave here, my job is not only to satisfy you, but I want to make him curious.
Absolutely. Both.
I want you to know that's what melanin is. It's the screen. We're having a discussion right now of the projector and the light. And that semiconductor circuit that I'm talking about is the one that I stumbled in. It's the
Your support is greatly needed, greatly appreciated, and we utilize 100% of the support in the continuing effort to not only bring you cutting edge research, but to support the technical aspect, the media aspect, as well as the living examples of the research.
It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun, you heard?
I can't even thank that guy enough that posted that article. I can't thank him enough. Because now here's what it is. There's no way around it, right? And it's not just, you know, the culture vulture thing. It's not just the cheese dopamine thing, but because I could go all night about, you know, this is a white guy, right? And in reality, the only real experience that he could have with melanin is by studying his eye. And I've been telling people for years this. The only experience he can have is by studying his eye. But as a dark-skinned person, I have a blend of the pigments that are in my eye all throughout my skin. Even the opsins, like the rods that help you to see, you have those in your skin. You have opsins. Let me show you this here. Let me show you this. You might think I'm playing. I'll just give you one good example. Okay, hold on. That's that one. Let's grab that. Put that there. What's this here? Okay, let's take a look at both of these things here. Let's take a look at both of these articles. Okay, here's one. Let me see, can we see both if I switch it like that? Okay, both, no. All right, so real quick, I just typed in rhodopsin in the skin in Google, and then grabbed, you know, these are like the second and third articles that just popped up. So this article is from Brown University. After a series of surprising discoveries, a team of scientists determined the role of opsin 3 in tuning human skin color in response to ultraviolet rays. Yo, look at the picture they use. That's crazy. Look at the picture they use. That's crazy right there. Opsin 3, a protein closely related to rhodopsin, the protein that enables low light vision, adjusts the amount of pigment produced in human skin in response to ultraviolet rays. A team at Brown University researchers found that opsin 3, a protein closely related to rhodopsin, the protein that enables low light vision, has a role in adjusting the amount of pigment produced in human skin, a determinant of skin color. Right? Now, obviously, that's going to have to be relayed through the entire biochemistry, right? And this is part of the groundbreaking discoveries that I made with diabetes, right? Because remember, one of the major points of my article, and the article is free on the website right now. So y'all can go to my website, not the article with the human chemiluminescence. That's online. You can just Google Dr. Enqi chemiluminescence and click on that and read it yourself. But I'm saying the article I wrote on diabetes, right, which is what set this whole thing on fire, where I talked about insulin is not the star of the show, right? Insulin is not the star of the show. Melanin concentrating hormone is the star regulator in terms of glucose, homeostasis, you know, how muscles metabolize sugar, insulin, all of those things. That starts with melanin concentrating hormone in the brain, right? And then we talked about the counterbalance to melanin concentrating hormone, which is melanin stimulating hormone. Now, what Jack Kruse is attempting to do, he's attempting to go back in time, like in reference leptin, and start saying, oh, I wasn't just talking about the leptin pathway. I was talking about the leptin melanocortin pathway. And, you know, yeah, because over here, you see, I mentioned Palm C. Now, for the dummies that don't know about that, right? For the dummies that don't know any better, they're going to go, oh, yeah, if he was talking about Palm C, he was definitely talking about, no. Palm C is the long chain where melanin stimulating hormone comes from. But that's not melanin concentrating hormone. And so Palm C does not encapsulate the entire spectrum of melanin hormones. Palm C is just one. It's just one. So you cannot go back and retrospect, rewrite history to make people go, oh, yeah, no. He said Palm C. Look at this blog he wrote, whatever. Yeah, it says Palm C. So clearly he meant all of the full spectrum of melanin. Stop it, bro. Just because you wrote Palm C, that does not mean that you was referring to melanin concentrating hormone and melanin. And I noticed throughout his podcast with Rick Rubin and them, he makes a regular mistake of using melanin when he should be using melanosome, and sometimes when he should be using melanocyte. So now, if you just don't know any better, and you listening to the research from the outside, and he start throwing a whole bunch of big words and heteroplasmy rate and all kind of other shit at you that you never heard before, it's going to sound super swaggy, like no, I'm telling you, he don't fully know what he's talking about. And you could tell he got it from somewhere else because he don't even have a grip on the language that's associated with it. If he had a grip, he would say melanosomes are doing this. Melanin's doing that. Melanocytes do this. So for the people at home, melanocyte is the cell. Melanocytes create melanosomes. Those are the enzymes that produce the melanin in different places, right? So they all do different things. They all do different things. We went through a whole, I don't even know how long of a study we went through to talk about how melanosomes facilitate mitochondria function, and how all of the people online talking about hacking mitochondria, and mitochondria is the center of all of the function in the cell. Specifically, all these goofy niggas that listen to Jack Kruse, they didn't know what they was talking about. So trust me when I tell you, for years, people been forwarding my material over to this guy and over to his subordinates because I've been debunking all of that mitochondria hacking, all of that. Remember, I'm the guy that showed you that everywhere you have mitochondria in the cell, you also have a melanosome. Because if there are no melanosomes, the free radical production from the electron transport chain would destroy the fabric of the cell. So melanosomes have to be there to absorb, to drop melanin all around, to absorb all of the free radicals and keep the balance, and play the role between the free electron pool and transfer those electrons to NAD, right? Recycling them, rerouting, grabbing all those electrons from the free radical, radical nitrogen species, radical oxygen, radical carbon, like all of them, mopping that up. And not only just mopping up all those free radicals, but also collecting the free electrons from water, the water structuring process, right? The coherent domains, right? Grabbing all those and passing those on to NAD, so that now NAD can turn around and feed those to, histone, sirtuin, NRF2, mitochondria, boom, 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 boom. The NAD is like the trafficker, making them sales, flipping them packs. Right? So that's how it actually goes. Yeah, See, I could behind the back pass on this shit and all that because this is what I do. When you hear somebody grabbing it, they don't know what they're doing. Now watch this. Watch this. Listen to this.
But I'm going to say this to you to flummox you again. Peter and you believe that having all these big muscles and being strong is really important in longevity. If that's true, then explain to me why near Barzilai's clinic and Albert Einstein in New York has these little old Jewish guys that are all super centenarians that don't look like that. Why doesn't anybody who's 100 years old ever look like Michelangelo's David? I'm going to tell you the answer because it comes from Doug Wallace. Humans don't bury their mitochondrial capacity in their musculoskeletal system. They do it in their brains and their hearts. So you know what the single most important muscle is? Your heart, which gets right to the very fact where we are at Rick. So I would disagree vehemently with you and Peter that strength is the key to longevity. No, I think your heteroplasmy rate in your mitochondria here and here is the single most important thing if you're a human. Now, if you're a gorilla, I will agree with you and Peter. Because they bury their mitochondrial density, hence the reason they look as they do. But what did we do from gorilla or ape to us? We shortened our guts, expanded our brains. We also lost our muscles. Why? Because what is energy in life? It's a zero-sum game. All we're doing is shifting the poker chips around. That's effectively what's happening. And this is also corroborated, and I'm surprised Peter's made this mistake because I am calling this out as a mistake. Humans die of brain and heart diseases, number 1 and number 2. It's not even close. And he's a doctor. He should know better. Nobody's dying of musculoskeletal.
Well, I think he would say that cardiovascular disease, cerebrovascular disease are going to be the major killers.
Well, but the reason why he's saying, this is what I'm trying to get to you, Andrew. The reason why he's saying is the wrong reason. It's the reason why he missed the methylene blue story.
That's so crazy. That's so crazy. It's just from so many different directions. He said, old people don't die from lack of having muscles. That's crazy. He didn't even say old people. He just said people, period, don't die from lack of muscles. Now, we got to break this down on a bunch of different levels. Number one, if you're not in the health space, you may not know, but one of the most dangerous things on earth for a person that's over, I guess what, 65. We'll say 65. That's a senior citizen today, or at least that's what's passing as a senior citizen today. That's going to change, right? But one of the most dangerous things for a person in their later years, that's better, later years, we're going to say later years, is for them to fall down. They fall down, they break their hip. If they survive the breaking the hip, inside like a year or two, they're gone. They're gone. When you see people die from autoimmune disease, how do they look? Skin and bones, no muscles, right? When you see people die from cancer, how do they die? Skin and bones, no muscles, right? Like, but here's the thing. We watching billions of people die, skin and bones with no muscles, but guess what? The cause of death is always a tribute to something else. Oh, no, that person died from lupus. That person died from HIV. Oh, that person died from lung cancer, colon cancer, stomach cancer, throat cancer. That person died from, they had, they were fragile later years. Their bones were brittle. Wait, how does all this happen? How does all of this happen? Yes, that's absolutely correct, that the majority of our mitochondria is in our brain and our heart. Certified fact. Certified fact, right? But here's one of the things, right, that I'm going to give you a jewel that these goofball niggas will probably be trying to steal. Yeah, they'll be trying to steal it. But we got the timestamp here. June 30th on my birthday. This is the first time you've ever heard this anywhere. As I already know, I did the research. This is ours. I just came up, not just came up with it, but this is the first time I'm sharing it publicly. It hasn't been shared anywhere because it's, again, my original research, right? In your brain, right, you have two halves. There's a law of duality, right? Now, one of the things, and this is a part of the studies that, you know, I'm figuring out what I'm gonna do with this new book. I don't know if it's gonna be a free PDF or whether I'll do print or what I'm gonna do with the book, but it's coming. You know, all of the new stuff that I'm learning from putting this information together, you know, in whole or in part because of the Blue Magic Heart Challenge, with everybody doing their push-ups daily and you know, serving as a foundation. Let me write that down and talk about that. Before we get off here, hopefully we have time, right? But you got 60,000 miles of blood vessels, right? So you know a lot of what we're doing with the push-ups, 60 and 60. We got the Harvard folks jumped on the bandwagon now. They're like, yeah, if you could do more than 40 push-ups in a minute, blah, 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 right? So you got that, you know that. So 60,000 miles in your red blood cells, 60,000 miles, 60 seconds, cool. But your lymphatic system, which is kind of like, the circulatory system is almost a subset of the lymphatic system, you know, but it's much larger, right? And so in my mind, I'm like, yo, I got to keep in mind, and like you guys should keep in mind that these are averages, right? So when they say you got 60,000 miles of blood, that's an average, on average, right? But you have to have circulation everywhere, right? So think about it. Look at like Mr. Olympia bodybuilders, right? Them guys get really big and muscular. Look at the world's strongest men. They usually get really big and fat. I mean, they like strong too, but there's more, you know, a lot of fat, right? And then you probably got the people that you see like on The Biggest Loser, you know, just big fat people, period, 500, 600 pounds, whatever. No shade. You know, I'm not shaming. You know, I had an auntie that died because she was one of them big people. You know what I'm saying? Rest in greatness, Auntie Darlene. You know what I'm saying? I told that story a few times. People was mad because whatever, my family, it was a little thing for a minute. But, you know, I loved my Auntie Darlene. I was just mad at the rest of my family because they kind of like supported her eating up a whole bunch of shit and not really losing weight until it was too late. You know what I'm saying? Then everybody was sad when she passed away. And I'm like, you niggas are all like co-defendants in the murder. Nigga, what the fuck? Y'all, hell, you know. But anyway, what you need to know is that as your body gets bigger, right? As you put on more muscle or fat, as you put on more muscle or fat, guess what? Your body has to construct more blood vessels. Your body has to construct more blood vessels so you can get, you know, like a person that's 200 pounds, right? Say a person is 200 pounds when they're 25, right? If that same person, they go through something in their life and now they start to putting on weight, right? Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, like maybe they 200 pounds and now they decide, you know, they want to be Mr. Olympia. So they start doing whatever, you know, eating 5,000 calories a day, bulking up. And, you know, they now at 30, this person's 300 pounds. Or let's say they go through something that happens negatively and they just start you know, like mukbanging pizza pies or whatever, smoothies or milkshakes or whatever. They just get fat and gain another 100, 200 pounds, whatever. Each pound that they gain, whether it's fat or whether it's muscle, has to have circulation. So your body has to construct circulation, right? Now, here's the craziest thing. Here's the craziest thing. Here's where the Dr. Enqi comes in. It's becoming more and more and more apparent to me the more I research it that your muscles are actually an active part of your circulatory system, of your cardiovascular system. You know, you look at people in the fitness and bodybuilding community all the time talk about the pump, right? That pump is a large part of the process to how blood moves through your body, the quality of the blood moving through your body. Your muscle tissue actually releases hormones into the blood. So not only does muscle tissue function just like the heart in terms of pumping and pushing and moving blood around, or supporting that movement, right? Because we already talked about the other aspects of how blood moves around and, you know, structuring and of the gel and blah, 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 blah. So that's not for here, but the muscle tissue supports that. And if we're having a pigment conversation, that's what I'm saying these guys behind. You know what I'm saying? It's cool. I get it. You're studying melanin in a laboratory, but bro, it goes deeper than melanin. Melanin is the highest functioning pigment in a chain of pigments. Hemoglobin is in that chain. And not only is hemoglobin within that chain, but neuroglobin and myoglobin. So you can't talk about how amazing melanin is without talking about all the other pigments that make melanin, you know, that allow melanin to function how it does. And in muscles, you have myoglobin, right? Now, how do you talk about how amazing hemoglobin is? How do you talk about how amazing, you know, melanin is? And yeah, you know, in melanin molecule, you know, it's the sodium and the hemoglobin, it's the iron and the chlorophyll, it's the magnesium. How you forget myoglobin? How you mentioning hemoglobin and forget myoglobin? Myoglobin is in the muscles. You got pigment all in the muscles. You got mitochondria in there, so it's melanin in the muscles. So if you have an underdeveloped musculoskeletal system, you have an underdeveloped immune system, circulatory system, and hormone system, which is the reason why now the studies are showing that, yes, how much muscle you have definitely plays a role in your mortality. Now, when you hear fancy terms like heteroplasmy rate thrown around, that's really referring to nothing but, you know, mitochondria mutations. You know, like your mitochondria going bad, you know, when your mitochondria stop functioning as efficiently as they should. Now, what is the number one way to get instant mitochondrial biogenesis? Come on, I personally been teaching this since 2003. I remember the very first time I taught the class on mitochondrial biogenesis and calisthenics. I was in Black and Nobel and everybody didn't know what I was talking about. They was looking at me like I had 3 heads or like I just landed from outer space somewhere in the middle of the hood. I'm like, yeah, mitochondria. I'm like, how'd the conversation start? Somebody in the room asked me, what was the difference between weightlifters muscle and calisthenics and isometrics muscle? and I told them that the difference is mitochondrial density. Isometrics and calisthenics affects your body building, you know, depth in terms of mitochondria differently than the weights do, you know. And so that's why that muscle hangs on a lot longer. That's why the muscle is dense, more dense. So in reality, the perfect combination would be to be doing some weights, some calisthenics, and some isometrics, right? But yeah, so mitochondrial biogenesis facilitated by resistance training. We'll just put it all under one heading, right? That's building the muscle. The heart. How do you take care of your heart? Cardiovascular resistance, exercise, skeletal muscle. How do you take care of your brain? You take care of your brain by taking care of your heart and your circulatory system. How do you do that? Exercise. So these ideas that the culture vultures can just grab your information and run off, and we don't know enough to stop them in their tracks and go, hey, that was some good information right up until you said this. Now I'm gonna have to stop you right there. Or we don't know enough, or maybe we in fear, or maybe we feel inferior. Maybe we feel scared. Maybe we don't feel like it's our place to say, hey, hold on. You got that from Dr. Enqi. No. I know you got that from Dr. Enqi because he's the only person that's Dr. Enqi's research. How do I know? Because I'm one of the supporters. I'm paying for that shit. I'm sending it my Cash App, whether your Cash App is $1, $5, $10, or $1 billion. I'm sending in Cash Apps for that. I'm not letting you run off with that. That's like me watching you run out of my auntie house with a TV. That's not my TV. That's not my house. But I'm not getting ready to watch you run out of my auntie house with a stolen TV. Like, yo, where you going with that?
Out of UV light you create internally.
Yeah, well, that's the big one for me. I mean, obviously, that's the one that I think that's going to be the huge one for everybody listening, no matter whether or not they understand any of the rest of our conversation, is that our cells can create light internal to our body, right? That to me,
melanin is the screen. Remember the analogy I used to you before Andrew showed up, that we can sit in a movie theater when we were older guys in New York, and we look at the light, and then we see the movie, and you look at the light and go, wow, there's a lot of information in that light, but you don't see the information there. You see it on the screen.
You're talking about the beam coming from the projector.
Yeah.
So how is everything in the beam?
Right.
Does it make sense?
You as a non-science guy, when I leave here, my job is not only to satisfy you, but I want to make him curious.
Absolutely. Both.
I want you to know that's what melanin is. It's the screen. We're having a discussion right now of the.
Now, let me show y'all something real quick, because I know some of y'all don't think it matters, but I do. Bro, you gotta chill, bro. When you tell people that skeletal muscle has no effect on their longevity, that's crazy. And look at him. Look at him. Do you notice a problem here? This is not somebody that has invested any time, any money, any nutrition in understanding muscle development, how you develop muscles. You know, he look at him. Now he's going to tell you that his plan allow him to lose 100 pounds. But what he's not going to tell you is that he put the weight back on. And some of y'all go, Enqi, bruh, I'm just telling you. I'm not a Mr. Olympian. I'm not somebody that spent his lifetime in the gym. But I know people who have, and I respect the work that they put in. I understand what what the dedication, I understand the eating science, the nutrition. You can't negate that because you got a doctor. You learn how to, you know, give people some drugs. Huh? Let me show you what this guy is promoting for health and longevity. Let me show you what this guy is promoting for longevity. Let me show you something. This is what this guy is promoting. Not herbs, not vitamins. This is what he's promoting. I kid you not. And you got a lot of goofballs that follow him. This is what he's promoting for health and longevity. This is what he's telling you. You don't need herbs and vitamins. You need this. You don't need herbs and vitamins. You need this. Let's look at what this is. Come on, let's good old-fashioned wiki never lets us down. Look, methylene blue. What is this? Methylthionium chloride, commonly called methylene blue, is a salt used as a dye and a medication. As a medication, it is mainly used to treat methylglobinemia by converting or reducing or chemically reducing ferric iron in hemoglobin to ferrous iron. Specifically, it is used to treat methemoglobin levels that are greater than 30% or in which there are symptoms despite oxygen therapy. It has previously been used for treating cyanide poison and urinary tract infections, but this use is no longer recommended. Other side effects: serotonin syndrome, red blood cell breakdown. And we had a long conversation about red blood cell breakdown, right? We talked about, what's that anemia? I forgot the damn name of the anemia that causes the red blood cells to break down, and you get those cellular debris build up, and it can make PCR tests wonky. Let me see. Oh, look, here we go. Hemolytic anemia. This is what we was talking about before. Hemolytic anemia. See that? Bam. This is not the same as your feet cold, so you think you got, you know, anemia. This is not that. This is not the, oh, I got low iron. This is not that. This is something totally different, right? But it can be caused as a side effect of taking this chemical. So people got to realize you got to go hook, line, and sinker with folks when they promoting different things to you. You got to see where they're going. When you got these folks coming out and they telling you, oh yeah, I'm the foremost expert on melanin and blah, blah, blah. And I stumbled across that cells can produce light. And that's why we have the pigments all in the body and blah, 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 blah. Bruh, you ain't spent one day inside of melanin. That's number one. When he tell you, oh yeah, muscle has nothing to do with human longevity because it's all about the heteroplasmy rate of your mitochondria. Bruh, you have not spent one day inside a muscular body. That's number two. Okay, that's another big mistake. You got to stop it, bro. You got to stop it, and you got to stop the goofballs that's running around regurgitating this stuff to you. Because they don't know what they talking about either. They don't know what they're talking about either. The heteroplasmy rate in mitochondria, regardless to whether you're talking about in the heart, the brain, or anywhere else in the body, is going to be tied to your exercise. Period. It's going to be tied to how much stress you put on the body. How your body is able to convert that stress into what? Strength. Because strength comes down to what? Electricity. This is my problem with all of the alkaline, got Dr. Sebi folks out there. All these goofballs running around skinny. I keep telling y'all, only thing you're going to get with these health experts is skinny guys or fat guys. That should be a problem. The most electrically active tissue you have is your muscle. So how are these people telling you you got an electric body, but they don't have an electric body? You skin and bones. You don't got an electric body. You don't got an electric body. You got to do some push-ups, champ. Your electrical circuits need some help. And if you're fat, you could just say like your body's full of insulators. If you're fat, your body's full of insulators. So you don't have an electric body either, champ. So I'm not only pointing out throughout the course of this little, what we did, 2 hours, the fraud is real. The plagiarism is real. But beyond the fraud and the plagiarism, beyond the culture vulture behavior, the idea that muscle has nothing to do with longevity is a problem. The idea that chi is dope. We know what, we're not even going to deal with chi is dopamine, but we are going to deal with something else before we get out.
I consider most of the people with simple minds the people at the reality level. I consider most of the people with simple minds the people at the reality level. Why is it? Tell me why it is that calorie restriction data doesn't work in mammals. I'm going to tell you the answer is buried in that podcast that I did with Huberman and Rick. I've known that for 15 years. It's part of the reason when I was part of the paleo community, I went after Ron Rosedale, who's an ENT surgeon who is really big into calorie restrictions and limiting protein. The ideas around diet and how they affect this pathway make no earthly sense at all. In fact, all they're going to do is confuse the simple mind. And I consider most of the people with simple minds the people at the reality level.
Okay, so me and you, we're both going to pretend like he didn't just say that the people with simple minds are the people functioning in the reality level. We're going to pretend like he didn't say that, because you got people that think these people are incredibly intelligent. So we're going to leave that on the table. We're going to pretend like Jack Kruse is not out teaching that the people with the simple minds are the people functioning at the reality level. Right? We're going to leave that there. Hold on, you got to hear that again. I know you got to hear that.
I consider most of the people with simple minds the people at the reality level. I consider most of the people with simple minds the people at the reality level.
Is this your king? Yo, I swear this is making my stomach hurt. Woo! Wait a minute.
I consider most of the people with simple minds the people at the reality level. I consider most of the people with simple minds the people at the reality level.
Bro. Y'all think these guys are smart, man. I'm telling you. Y'all have inferiority complexes. Y'all are running around with inferiority complexes, man. That's why y'all think these folks so smart. Hopefully we doing something. Oh, here. Let me give y'all some more of this, man. This is from, you know what I'm saying? If you don't accept it coming from me, accept it coming from Tragedy Gaddafi. Accept it coming from Malcolm X. If you don't get it from me,
What makes the so-called Negro unable to stand on his own 2 feet? He has no self-confidence. He has no confidence in his own race. Because the white man destroyed your and my past. What makes the so-called Negro unable to stand on his own 2 feet? He has no self-confidence. He has no confidence in his own race. Because the white man destroyed your and my past. Destroyed our knowledge of our culture. And by having destroyed it, now we don't know we have any achievements, any accomplishments. And as long as you can be convinced that you never did anything, you can never do anything. But when it comes to teaching the black people something about great black men who stood their ground, who were scientists, who were civilizers, who were fathers of culture and civilization, the men have shrewdly written that role out of the textbook.
Sometimes I feel trapped, raised inside a wild habitat, black. And like an animal, I learn to react. Parallel to hell with dead bodies, rotten smell, hard to excel. Where a lot of real G's just died and fell. We play inside the graveyards, blood in the streets, youth die young, and mother heart starved. Emotionally attacking black seeds inside the ovaries. Rob my religion plus culturally. I don't acknowledge myself, it's like I'm frozen G at 32 degrees and something's holding me. Divide and conquer consciously, I can't see, I'm blind. Poison me with the technology, enslaving my mind. I'm just a ghetto child watching ancestors stressing. Cause every day above ground is truly a Lord's blessing. Study my essence, what I spit is plus degrees and life lessons. For those asking the realest questions. Who is God, Jehovah, Elohim, and Allah, genetically inside of me and written in the stars.
They don't recognize me now. I done took too much, and I'm all torn down, but I'm built back up. They don't recognize me now. I done took too much, and I'm all torn down, but I'm built back up.
It's been a long time coming since my earth was all rock. My first stop, the safest part of the worst block. Divine seeds, planted in sewage and gravel. With nothing but a 7 as a gavel, we learn to travel. Student enrollment, English lessons, we learn to push them. Actual and solar facts to the lost Muslim. With these working tools, I research to diverge from the urge. Put me first, more than a detox, a deep purge. 120 the atom, the first, the word. We heard the spark of creation to preserve God in the flesh. Since then, I've been telling them it's more than light, sound crystallized through melanin. You can't come around for a few dollars and disappear. We ain't bouncing no reality checks. Listen here, the chicken clear, biophoton currency, the bloodline of luxury. Health is wealth, and niggas been living comfortably.
They don't recognize me now. I done took too much. Now I'm all torn down, but I'm built back up. They don't recognize me now. I done took too much, but I'm all torn down. Now I'm built back up.
you got to ask yourself, how is it that I already played you the audio of him saying he never taught this information before till just now. He just came up with this information. But I can open you up a book that I wrote years ago. I wrote this book years ago, sold out of it, reprinted it, sold out of it, stopped printing the book. And I'm flipping through and I can show you word for word as he telling you his brand new information he stumbled on in 2023. Oh yeah, and I'm telling you, it's the newest information. I never told this to nobody because the sun is the projector, and your melanin in your brain is the movie screen, and woo woo woo. And then I open up the book, and I'm showing you literally the neurons with the people sitting in the movie theater, like, yeah, this is your movie screen. Like I'm literally flipping through the pages of my book as he talking the shit he talking. And the podcast is longer. I could keep flipping through more pages. Oh yeah, and the melanin in your ear because you hearing light and blah, blah, blah. All that's in my book. So that's why I'm telling you, it's different over here. You know what I'm saying? These guys in the quote unquote black holistic space, they think they my competition. They think they my equals. I'm like, bro, relax. This thing that I got is from God. I don't have equals. It's a wrap. I don't have equals when it comes to this. Now, we can go even further with heteroplasmy rate or mitochondria mutation rate, which he says is tied to your longevity. Not only is the number one way to keep your mitochondria functioning healthy exercise, but the number one way that your mitochondria mutate is from fat. The lack of exercise. But again, I have to show you this because in the world of podcasts, right, you don't really get to see that the foremost expert on melanin doesn't have any. You don't get to see that the guy telling you that muscles have nothing to do with longevity doesn't have any and never had any. So how do you know what you're talking about? How? What do you know about muscles? What do you know about carrying muscle? What do you know about melanin? Oh, I get it. Because you looked at muscles on TV, or you studied muscles in the Petri dish, or you read about muscles in a journal, or you read about melanin, or you operated as a surgeon. You did a surgery on somebody that had muscles. But you didn't have any. And so you studying muscles externally, you think outweighs somebody who spent 20, 30, 40, 50 years building muscle. You're sadly mistaken. You're confused. The problem is, I'm going to tell you, bodybuilders and bodybuilder coaches, they don't know that they're scientists. See, you can be a scientist and operate in the lab, or you could be a living scientist and operate in the real world. Yeah. I know a guy, his name is Nate Dilworth. He's in the Hall of Fame. Genius. There's another guy, I don't know him. His name is Hani. Bruh. He only coaches the best. Like he's one of the GOATs when it comes to these are guys that understand the living science of the body. Living science. Not you studying the brain because you're doing brain surgery. So what does that mean? That means the brain that you're looking at is cut open. Okay, the human brain doesn't function when it's cut open. I mean, it functions, but doesn't function like it's supposed to function when it's cut open. The body's a pressurized system. So when you cut open a brain, there's no way on God's green earth that you can think that it's functioning the way it's supposed to function when it's cut open. Number one. Number two, in order to cut somebody's brain open and do a surgery, you got to chemical that person down. So the brain is chemical down in an ultra oxygenated state. Like, no, bro, no. There's people that spend their whole lives studying living bodies, living tissue. There's some of us that actually live in melanin. We were born inside melanin. We're going to die in melanin. Yeah. There's nothing you could do in a lab for your experience with melanin to surpass mine. Because whatever you come up with a lab in the paper, I already live. Yeah. And guess what? A person who lives in the melanin can go and purchase or Google and read the article for free. But on the flip side, you can never purchase living in melanin. You can never purchase that experience. You can never have that. You can never have that. No matter how much you tan, you can never have that experience. Period. And muscle, not as difficult. Muscle you can get. You can work hard and earn muscle. That's the beauty of the gym. The gym is very much like masonry. You can't, your money don't matter in there. You can't buy muscle. Even with steroids or what do they call that? Swarms or SARMs, or you cannot buy muscle. You could buy you some supplements, but you cannot buy muscle, period. You got to work for that. And to be born and to live inside melanin, you got to be born with that. You cannot, you can't. So, calorie restriction. Let me deal with the calorie restriction thing because I know people want to get on with their Friday night. Okay, now here's the problem with calorie restriction. Okay, now he says that calorie restriction is it's not a thing. Even though we got all these studies on calorie restriction extending life. And so he goes, oh, well, I'm going to tell you why the calorie restriction doesn't work in humans because, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, the calorie restriction doesn't work in humans because, you know, whatever. I'm going to tell you the reason why. The reason why is because there's two ways to practice calorie restriction. And all of the tests dealing with calorie restriction, all of the tests dealing with calorie restriction in animals, when you get into humans, you have to practice calorie restriction different. Right now, here's the two ways. First, let me tell you the one way that's most popular, and this was documented when they're doing all these studies on rodents and other life forms or lower, you know, other creatures. They're taking a daily caloric value, right? Whatever the person eats daily, right? You know, so we're feeding, let's say mice. We're going to feed these mice 2,000 calories a day. Now, we're going to do this for the rest of their life. And then we're going to take another group, you know, we're going to give them 1,500 calories. And then we're going to take another group. Hold on 1 second, guys. Yo. Not much. I'm live. Yeah. You good though? No, who? What are you talking about? What happened? Oh man, I'm gonna call you back as soon as I finish. Oh man, I know it's that time of the year too. That's crazy. I'm gonna call you right back. That's beautiful, though. He about to get that bag. Hold on, I'm gonna call you back when I finish the live because I don't want them to hear all this stuff anymore. So here's the thing. So they go, okay, we're gonna take this group, 2,000 calories. I'm just giving you, you know, rough whatever. It could be 500, whatever. Here's the number, 2,000, whatever. We're gonna take this group and give them a less amount of calories. Same daily routine, whatever, but less calories. Then we'll have this group over. Okay, so that's calorie restriction. They do the test. They go, oh yeah, well, the animals that ate less food, they lived longer. Calorie restriction affecting longevity. Boom, grand opening, grand closing. But here's another way, and here's the way, you know, that you have to practice in humans. In humans, it becomes different. And it's not different because of the fact that we don't have the mitochondria in our skeletal muscular system. It's more so because of our heart and brain. Our heart and brain are huge compared to these other animals. So the demand is different, and how the body functions together as a whole is different. So here's how it works in humans, and I know because I'm living it. I'm living it. And I know others that are living it. And I'm talking to people, you know, like, yo, this and this and that. Yeah, oh yeah, this is, oh yeah, you ain't know that. Oh yeah, oh, well, over here in the holistic space is totally different. We taught the fast and blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, over here in this space, we're taught the way you practice calorie restriction is not by lowering calories, but by increasing how much calories you burn, meaning by increasing the exercise. Mind blown. Because now, people in the bodybuilder space, a lot of them may not do a lot of studying of like ancient martial art forms and all that. You know, I'm not trying to be a black belt and choke nobody to death and get them to tap out for the UFC. You know, I study martial arts more for the science and the information there. So when I get that information, it automatically blows my mind, not in a way like these goofballs talking about chi is dopamine, but it blows my mind in a sense of, this is the longevity that's been tied to martial arts. All the way, even if you go back to the popular stories of Damo first really cultivating what we know of today as martial arts, right? He had the monks. How were the monks living? The monks all look like holistic healers. They all look flabby, right? They all look skinny. The guys at the bottom all look skinny, with the guys at the top, you know, the head priest and monks looking fat. And what did he come with? He came with a system to do what? Extend everybody's life. And what was it? A specific set of exercises. Now, it wasn't no such thing as hitting the gym and all that back then, and PEDs and this, that, and that. It was just a certain set of exercises done a certain type of way. Now, the exercise is not only focused on resistance training and cardiovascular, but also, you know, synchronizing the body with the planet and blah, 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 blah. So, but at its simplest, right? When you introduce a system of daily exercise to a group of people that don't exercise, what are you also doing? Without ever naming it calorie restriction, you're practicing calorie restriction. Because nobody had a dietary regimen. I mean, nobody had like a diet, like nobody changed their diet. Whatever they were already eating, however they were already fasting, however they were already, whatever they were already doing, they kept doing that. The only thing they did was they added in now a set time or a few set times a day where they're going to practice these exercises. and carry out all the rest of their daily activities the way they've been doing. So what does that mean? That means that now they're burning an extra 300, 500, or 1,000 calories a day that they weren't before. But they're not increasing their amount of food they're intaking. So whatever the amount of excess calories that are being burned from that exercise is their calorie restriction. And that calorie restriction from more exercise, not from cutting food out, but from more exercise, is what extended their lives in real time. So again, Jack Kruse don't know what he's talking about because he's always been a big fat boy. Respectfully. Respectfully. Yeah, I've been a big fat boy. I know how it feels. See, that's the difference. I done been a fat guy. I done been a fit guy. So I know what it feels like to walk and be walking up 3-4 flights of steps and have to stop and you got heart palpitations like as if you were just hitting it. Now, if you hitting the bench press or you doing some exercise or you running, doing whatever, and you get some heart palpitations, okay, cool, you earned it. But if you just walking up a couple flights of steps and your heart feel like it's about to come out your chest, bro, you got to chill, man. You don't know nothing about no longevity because you would be exercising it. And when people follow these types of ideas, it's a dead end. You got David Sinclair out there talking about, oh, he's the foremost authority on longevity research because, you know, I've been with Harvard, such and such and such and such. And so we've narrowed down the key ingredients which you need to stretch your life to longevity. And basically what you got to do is take aspirin every day and metformin every day. I'm like, wait a minute. So you goofballs trying to be smarter than the next black man, because that's what happens. You trying to outsmart your brother and outsmart your sister. You then ran over to some other different platforms where they use bigger words, and you think you coming back to mystify us like you bringing fire to the natives. Knock it off, champ. Some of us actually read books. Okay? So you're not getting ready to discard, you know, Dr. Africa's and Dr. Sabi's all the way back to Imhotep. But telling me this skinny guy, David Sinclair, this skinny guy who looked like he need a sandwich. Talking about he eat every so often. He eat, oh, every day I don't eat because, you know, I don't have to eat every day. Bro, stop. And his program is what you've got to do is you've got to take an aspirin every day to thin out the blood. And then you've got to supplement that with metformin, which will help your body metabolize the excess sugars and cortisols. I'm like, bro, what's wrong with y'all people? Don't you know that exercise? You know that exercise metabolizes the excess blood sugars and insulins and cortisols. Yeah. You could just do these push-ups with me real quick, and then boom, you didn't need the metformin because see the metformin is going to help you. You could just did these push-ups, just we could have knocked these push-ups out. Yeah, or you could find out that metformin actually comes from purple lilac, and then we could just get the herbs. Yeah. But how is a person going to tell you herbs is no good, but then tell you need an herbal extract for longevity? Oh, yeah, don't take herbs and supplements. That stuff is a waste of your money. What you need to do is focus in on metformin and aspirin. I'm like, bro, both of those are herbs. You got white willow bark, and then you got purple lilac. I need y'all to chill. I should have had a Jay-Z clip right now. I'll show you how to do this, son. Y'all gotta chill, bro. In the article, matter of fact, let me show y'all in the article. Let me show y'all in the article. Do I have that on here? Let me see if I got the article on here. That's gonna be crazy if I don't, right? Let me show y'all something. I think this is it. Now, y'all can go download this from the website, AmericanHealer.website. Y'all can go download this, right? Y'all see this on the screen? All right, yeah, y'all can see it. All right, let's jump down. Let's jump down. Nope. Nope, nope. Are we here with it? Okay, look. Now look right here. Look right here. We didn't even have to go too far in the article. Now he's telling you something about taking methylene blue, your man JACKKRUSE, so that way you can get the iron to be recycled, kind of, to preserve the neuromelanin. Now, if you get to the Dr. Enqi article once again, right? Once again, let me show you. Let me show you this one. Where is it at? Is this? No. That ain't it. Hold on. It's one of these diagrams. You know my graffiti. You know my graffiti diagrams. Hold on. Man, hold up. Now build back up. Boom. The neuron oxidizes and the bacteria reduce iron. All right, so pretty soon they're going to be telling you that a part of your microbiome, guess what? Without the need of a synthetic dye or drug, your microbiome helps your body to recycle iron. And what they're going to say then? They're going to say, oh, we stumbled onto this. No. We stumbled onto this. You don't need to get the drug. Your body actually does this. If you take care of your microbiome, guess what? Your microbiome, and then I'm going to be back again with another video. I'm going to be back again with another video. Like, hold on. Let me take y'all to the 2020 article back in 2020. Because remember, back in 2020? Remember back in 2020? Remember back in 2020? Yeah, back in 2020 when Enqi was saying, what was Enqi saying? We need to understand not only the Enqi cycle's intracellular function in terms of energy production, but that is also the template which the entire body is built around. Even the microbiome produces electricity and light. Now, don't let one of these goofy folks run around and tell you they stumbled onto this now, because I'm showing you this in the article. Now, look, I'm going to read that again to you. Even the microbiome produces electricity and light. The microbiome is simply extracellular mitochondria. Some groups produce as much as 100K electrons per second. And think, you have 39 trillion of them. Honestly, where is all this light and electricity going? The neurons in the gut. These neurons need to couple iron to their melanin, and the bacteria breathe iron like we breathe oxygen. The neurons and bacteria share light, and this relationship may exist between bacteria, many different types of cells or pigments. This is the Amor cycle, right? So I talked about the Enqi cycle, but I didn't get to some of these other cycles that we discovered as a team. You know, diabetes versus melanin. That's kind of what we're doing here. Hint the name, diabetes versus melanin. Melanin versus diabetes. Like, that's kind of what we're doing here. Diabetes is a name to disguise genocide. So before we continue with this brand new understanding of the body, we need a new name for diabetes that accurately describes what it is. Melanin disease will be how we describe type 2 diabetes from here on out in this article. The reason we need to rename type 2 diabetes as melanin disease is because it's the biggest secret regarding type 2 diabetes, which is melanin concentrating hormone. The primary feature of melanin disease should no longer be addressed as insulin resistance or high blood glucose. It should be melanin concentrating hormone resistance. The way melanin concentrating hormone resistance works is by bypassing the Enqi cycle, creating addiction and dependence on carbohydrates. Even type 1 diabetics should know that the beta cells have dopamine receptors because insulin production is regulated by melanin as well as sirtuin number 4. Now, if you remember, I told you that melanin does what? It feeds free electrons to NAD, and the NAD does what? Feeds the NRF2 system, the mitochondria, but what else? The sirtuins. Correct. And that's how the sirtuins is a part of longevity. But what stops your body from producing as much NAD as it should? Fructose. Fructose inhibits the body from flipping the tryptophan and the B3 and all that into NAD and into the other active forms of NAD. So when you loading up with fructose via snacks or whatever, or liquor, you know, that's inhibiting your body's ability to produce NAD. And that is one of the functional energy system that, you know, that's one of the functional core foundational pieces of your energy system, NAD, right? So you get an NAD, NADH, NADPH, or, you know, there's a whole little system, but NAD is the cornerstone. And that starts with tryptophan, once again, the aromatic amino acid, and B3. This is the same aromatic amino acid you need for serotonin, and guess what? For melatonin. So before you jump all the way down the road and start talking about, oh yeah, because the mitochondria is producing melatonin, relax. The mitochondria is not producing nothing without tryptophan. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. You guys can't, you know, a lot of times I just refer people back to the information I already put. They're like, yo, you heard what this guy said? I'm like, bro, did you study the book? Did you study the article I sent you? You couldn't have studied it because otherwise you wouldn't be asking me about this guy. You couldn't have studied it. Because this guy's telling you that the key to longevity is taking methylene blue, a dye, a drug that's going to reduce and recycle your iron so that your melanin can use that when your microbiome does that. But guess what? Your microbiome requires two different things for that to happen. One of them is actual real fiber, not powdered like Metamucil, not fake fiber, real fiber from your food that you can get from like oats or, you know, oats, that same old plain, boring thing that you watch all these bodybuilders, you know, the guys with the muscle. The same oatmeal, you see all these motherfuckers with the muscle eating? Yeah, some of that. And then you see them sprinkling some other stuff in there. Oh, yeah. Some of that blueberry this and this and that. Or the stuff you see that guy, you know, the doctor with the gold teeth, you know, when he put that blue magic, the algae, when he adds the algae to the oatmeal, you know, God's stem cells. When you see the doctor with the gold teeth add God's stem cells, because that's what the algae is, God's stem cells. I'm putting God's stem cells into my oats with the Enqi herbs and the Sabi herbs. All, yeah. Woo. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to eat some of this food from the earth for longevity and do some of this exercise. While y'all looking for shortcuts, y'all looking at David Sinclair, skinny white guy, telling you, oh yeah, the key to longevity is metformin and aspirin every day. Or fat white guy, JACKKRUSE. Oh, no. You don't need muscles and exercise. And no supplements. Supplements are no good. What you need to do is just go out into the sun and take methylene blue. Oh, I need to take chemical dye every day. Oh, that's going to really activate my melanin, because that's the same thing I was thinking, Jack. That's what I was thinking. I'll just take some chemical pharmaceutical bullshit and yeah, there we go. That's exactly what I should be doing. You guys got to stop this crazy shit out there. I need y'all to stop listening to these guys. Especially when he tells you that the simple minds that can't comprehend real science are the people living in reality. Bro, I was dead listening to this.
I consider most of the people with simple minds the people at the reality level. I consider most of the people with simple minds the people at the reality level.
I'm like, oh. Got it. So clearly you're not in the reality level. Cool. I'm just going to tell you guys out there that health and longevity is in the reality level. Listen to what I'm telling you. Health and longevity is in the reality level. It's in the reality level. It's in the reality level. I promise you. It's in the reality level. Yeah. When you go to all of the blue zones, the one thing every single blue zone has in common is exercise. Now, here's the thing. Oh, you know what? That's too many Jews. I can't put too many Jews in this video because the title, the way it's titled and tagged, too many people are going to watch it. So I'll wait till we get back to our low views, because I'm sure this is going to get a bunch of views. When we get back to our low views, then I'll be going crazy with the rest of the info. They can't get everything. They got to wait. They got to wait if I upgrade them again. I already gave them too much by telling you that your body's muscle development is the other half of your circulation. It's the other half of the heart. It's the way resonance is practiced within the body. Remember, every organ in the body has resonance with the heart. I already showed y'all that the brain beats with the heart's beat. And when the brain's beat is not in sync with the heart's beat, you got problems, right? Let me see something. Let me see. Is that right here? Let me see. Look. See, I don't mess around. I always got the receipts when I'm talking about. Hold on. How come JACKKRUSE ain't tell y'all that yet? He a neurosurgeon. How come he ain't tell y'all that yet? Yeah, I want y'all to have a chance to read that. I want y'all to have a chance to read that. Read that. Put that in your notes. Melanin concentrating hormone controls the brain beat. This process is damaged by sugar and diabetics, causing mental illness. Remember that the GOAT told you that in advance. Man, you know what would really set this off? If I would have had a little snippet from Biz Markie, make the music with your mouth, Biz. See, y'all think the human beatbox. Let me tell y'all something, man. See, I got there's so many levels I can go into with this. There's actually a human beatbox. Listen, there's actually a human beatbox. The human beatbox, the oblong square in the back of your brain, the oblong square. If I could take this to a masonry spin, the oblong square we call the medulla oblongata. See, I just, you know, we just keep it here. We're gonna keep it here. We're gonna keep it here.
It ain't no fun when a rabbit got the gun, you heard?
See, I'm trying to tell you now, this is this is what I'm saying. Rick Rubin should have known better. He done made a whole lifetime of a living off of these Bronx boys having this genius with no access to music school, with no access. How is it that the kids that never had access to music school have created the most lucrative music business in the history of this planet? I'll wait. Hit me with that, Rick. Question for Rick Rubin. This is a question for Rick Rubin. How is it, sir, that the kids from the inner city ghettos of America, specifically the Bronx, my neighborhood, how is it that they have created the most lucrative music business on earth? Yeah, y'all get back to me with that. I'll wait. I'll wait for the answer. Y'all can get back to me with that one. Yeah. It's not heavy metal. It's not rock and roll. It's not jazz. It's not country. It's not R&B. It's not pop. It's not pop. No, it's not pop. No, it's not that choreographer, fake dance shit. It's not none of that. It's the little kids. Yeah, the little dirty kids from the Bronx. When the landowners, when the building owners, when the Jewish people that owned those buildings decided that they were leaving the Bronx, and so they started lighting the buildings on fire so they could pull their money out and get their insurance money because the value of the buildings was going down as more black people moved in. I was one of those black people that was moving in as the Bronx was burning down. So explain to me how in that burned down, destroyed, how did those kids with no music teaching, how did they create the most lucrative music business on earth? And I'll add the caveat. Whatever your answer is, that is buried in that podcast y'all did, the actual answer. And that actual answer is how we're doing this research out here without the big facilities, without the big institutions. Yeah. Whatever that answer is. Whatever that answer is. That's how we got here with it. So you could just know that the day of y'all just culture vulturing motherfuckers, excuse my French here, pardon my Moorish. The days of y'all just grabbing, flipping, and bouncing people's work, though, yeah. You gotta chill, bro. You gotta calm down, champ. We're not having that, bro.
What makes the so-called Negro unable to stand on his own feet? He has no self-confidence. He has no proud confidence in his own race. Because the white man destroyed your and my past, destroyed our knowledge of our culture. And by having destroyed it, now we don't know we have any achievements, any accomplishments. And as long as you can be convinced that you never did anything, you can never do anything. But when it comes to teaching the black people something about great black men who stood their ground, who were scientists, who were civilizers, who were fathers of culture and civilization, and have truly written that role out of the textbook.
Sometimes I feel trapped, raised inside a wild habitat, black. And like an animal, I learn to react. Parallel to hell with dead bodies, rotten smell, hard to excel. Where a lot of real G's just died and fell. We play inside of graveyards, blood in the streets. Youth die young, and mother heart scarred. Emotionally attacking black seeds inside the ovaries. Rob my religion plus culturally. I don't acknowledge myself, it's like I'm frozen G at 32 degrees and something's holding me. Divide and conquer consciously, I can't see, I'm blind. Poison me with the technology, enslaving my mind. I'm just a ghetto child watching ancestors stressing. Cause every day above ground is truly a Lord's blessing. Study my essence, what I spit is plus degrees and life lessons. For those asking the realest questions. Who is God, Jehovah, Elohim, and Allah, genetically inside of me and written in the stars.
They don't recognize me now. I done took too much, and I'm all torn down, but I'm built back up. They don't recognize me now. I done took too much, and I'm all torn down, but I'm built back up.
It's been a long time coming since my earth was on rock. My first stop, the safest part of the worst block. Divine seeds, planted in sewage and gravel. With nothing but a 7 as a gavel, we learn to travel. Student enrollment, English lessons, we learn to push them. Actual and solar facts to the lost Muslim. With these working tools, I research to diverge from the urge. Put me first more than a detox, a deep purge. 120 to Adam, the first, the word. We heard the spark of creation to preserve God in the flesh. Since then I've been telling them it's more than light, sound crystallized through melanin. You can't come around for a few dollars and disappear. We ain't bouncing no reality checks. Listen here, the chicken clear, biophoton currency, the bloodline of luxury. Health is wealth and niggas been living comfortably.
They don't recognize me now. I done took too much. Now I'm all torn down, but I'm built back up. They don't recognize me now. I done took too much, but I'm all torn down. Now I'm built back up.